This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Oh, what's going on, man?
Hey, baby, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? You doing good?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm in Vegas. What can I tell you?
Yeah. This is what, day 4? Day 4 out there?
Day 4. I got here on Tuesday night, Wednesday, really. So
okay, so you're just fresh there.
It's a week. It's a week.
Oh, so this, I was like, okay, so a week in Vegas. Wow, I'm surprised you still have your voice.
Oh no, but I take care of that, dude. No.
You need the voice. That's the business maker, right? You can't.
Dude. Yeah. Even I went to 3 Morrissey concerts last week on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah,
and I made sure I did not scream or or sing a ton or something, just a little bit, just because I was so into it. But I'm always conscious of that, bro. I'm always conscious. That's why I take my Nature B every day, because I try to, because I don't even want a cold, because working, doing radio 3-4 hours a day with a cold, oh man, that is rough. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. You've had to, I'm sure you've had to power through reports and things like that with a cold. Can you imagine talking 3-4 straight hours?
It's different having to suck it up for
a segment
or 2-minute blocks, a few times during the show versus continual. I could take a break. I can recalibrate myself. You can't really do that on radio.
I'm with you there. So let me ask you, let's get into a little Dolphins talk with the Tyreek podcast. He's been getting a little heat because, what he was saying wasn't anything out of the ordinary. That, hey, man, normally they give you 2-3 years to prove it, and that's where Tua is at now and all that stuff. And so, people are either being critical of him that he shouldn't have brought that up and that all you're doing is putting more pressure on Tua and those kind of things. How did you view? I know what he was trying to say. I don't know if it was a good idea to necessarily talk about that, because it's not really his place. He's not the player. It's Tua is the one that should be addressing anything along those lines. What'd you think about that?
So it's interesting, this whole podcast deal, because obviously Tyreek's new in this realm, and he's learning that, one, everything you're saying can be used as a headline, as something that drives content. So that's one thing that he's learning, but he's also learning that's the way you get people to listen to your podcast, to get these headlines driven things and be able to generate traffic that wouldn't normally get there. And so I think he enjoys the intention, but he also is trying to have it both ways. When I heard him say that, I'm thinking that he's saying what we all believe, that we know the pressure nationally, what people are going to think about him, what the teams think about him is going to depend on what he does year 3. We know how it works. So I think he's saying something that I think we believe is a fact, but him saying it comes out differently because he's the receiver. He's a teammate. He's the guy who is quote unquote supposed to say, oh no, Tua needs to get as much time as he should. But the reality, that's not the truth. If Tua plays bad this year, then we're going to have a very real conversation about replacing Tua next offseason. That's just the reality of it. So
the head coach has to worry about his job.
So, right. Yeah. I think that's the reality of the situation. So I didn't have any issue with him saying it. The problem he runs into is that active players typically don't say what we say in the media. And that's one of the sticky spots when you see current players getting into the podcast realm. They get into situations where we as media are comfortable, kind of waddling in, but players may not be as much. So it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves, especially during the season. If Tua has a bad game one day and he comes on the podcast and is asked about it, how comfortable is he saying certain things? I'm interested to see how it all evolves, but I didn't have any issue with it, but I knew it was going to become a big topic once he said it.
Yeah. I understand where he was going with it. It's kind of like, LeBron also is kind of under some heat with the whole Brandy Chastain thing that he was talking. No, not Chastain. What is it?
Brittany
Griner. Yeah. Why am I thinking the soccer girl? Anyways, Brittany Griner, and he was talking about the whole that she must not think her country loves her or whatever. She may not want to even come back or whatever. And I get what he was trying to say and all of that, because then he had to come back and say, I'm not talking about our country that way. It's just putting yourself in her position, all that kind of stuff. So it's something that's going to be misunderstood, even though some of us may understand what you're trying to say. Those that don't want to understand what you're trying to say are going to spin it to however the hell they want to do it. And that's what I think Tyreek is going to have to deal with from here on out. I mean, and I don't know, and is he going to be smart enough to understand that so he can maneuver around it? That's the question.
So one thing I'm learning about Tyreek, which I enjoy as a media member, I don't know if the Dolphins PR staff loves it, but Tyreek will say what's on his mind, and he will make stories. There's not a lot of personalities on this Dolphins team that can be a little bit unfiltered, and Tyreek is unfiltered in a way that he will say what's on his mind, and then if he has to come back and clean it up, he will.
He has a Jimmy Butler filter.
He does have a Jimmy Butler filter, and so sometimes he intentionally means to say these things, and he knows what it's going to do. And sometimes he doesn't know what it's going to do, but he's like, oh, well, I said it. Or, why are they reacting that way? So because of that, I think we're going to have a lot more of these moments throughout the year where it's like, Tyreek said this. It became a main topic on national TV. What do we think about it? What do we think he meant? What do we think the teammates think about it? And so I think that's part of the Tyreek Hill experience. For Dolphin fans who want to stay under the radar, that all went out of the window when you trade for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's not an under-the-radar player. He loves the attention. I think he thrives on it. And so you'll see more situations where I think he'll say things that bring attention to him and bring attention to the team. And so whether or not that helps to, whether or not that brings more attention on him, we're going to see. But I think Tyreek Hill is not going to change who he is.
Oh, no, there's no doubt. Now, although the public may change what he is, because it all depends on the kind of heat he gets for certain things that he says.
Right.
And he hasn't had to deal with that kind of stuff.
Right.
So we'll see if he, because sometimes you may slip up and say something and then you get some serious heat and then you're like, okay, I've learned my lesson here. Yeah, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. And so he's got to, we'll see how that turns out. But that's one that is definitely one to watch, because he's definitely stirring it up in camp. All right. And on the NFL side, so Tyreek leaves Kansas City. They didn't want to pay him the kind of money that he was looking for after the Devontae Adams deal. Really jacked it up. So now they have an Orlando Brown situation. And first of all, when you trade for a guy like that, you should be agreeing to a contract at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so now you find yourself in a position where you tagged him. He doesn't want to be tagged. He wants to be paid like a left tackle. And you're willing only to pay him like a right tackle.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden now, are the Chiefs cheap?
I don't think the Chiefs are cheap, but they're running into things that winning teams run into. You can't pay everybody. And so you have to value what everything's going to come up.
But that's one guy you got to pay.
Right. You do.
Did you watch Mahomes in the Super Bowl 2 years ago? And they treated him like a plant.
But you got to remember I won't even call it a punishment, but the punishment of having a Patrick Mahomes is you're paying Patrick Mahomes $50 million a year. So where other quarterbacks may be taking 30 or 20, or in Tua's case, 5 or 6, you got Mahomes making 50. And so that's a $45 million difference, $43 million difference between Mahomes and Tua. That's $43 million they can spend 25 or 30 on Tyreek Hill, and then a 13 to 15 on Tyron Armstead. And now you got a star receiver, a star left tackle, and your quarterback. Whereas the Chiefs, that same amount of money, can only afford the quarterback. And so I think that's what they're running into. They've already got a lot of money tied up in that defense. The defensive lineman, they got Chris Jones there.
That was my follow-up.
And so maybe they haven't picked the right guys. Maybe they only should have paid one of those defensive tackles and not 2.
That was going to be my follow-up. Because, dude, you saw what happened 2 years ago with Mahomes. How do you protect your $50 million quarterback? You don't protect him with a $3 million tackle, dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to pay your quarterback, well, damn it, you better pay your offensive line. And in today's NFL, dude, you can't spend a ton of money on your defense like that anymore.
Yeah.
That's just not the way it goes. The way you got to balance things out. If you got to pay for your quarterback, then you better take care of him with the offensive line. They better be high draft picks, or you better trade for a guy, or you better sign a free agent. Well,
especially like a guy like Mahomes, to be honest, because a lot of his game is creating and playmaking and holding on to the ball for 3, 4, 5 seconds. And a lot of that, you need good tackle play, because Mahomes might run outside the right tackle and scramble around a little bit. If your tackle is getting busted open in a second or second and a half, then that kills a lot of that magic. And I think you said something on the money when we first started this question. The Chiefs' mistake is not paying the guy when you first get him. If you're trading clear assets for a guy, you got to pay him. That's something that the Texans made the mistake with Laramie Tunsil. They made the big trade for the Dolphins, and I think his price might have been 18.
He had him by the balls.
And Laramie's like, you just gave up the whole fort. I'm going to get y'all for the whole fort. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to get my bag. And I think he got, 20, 22, 23, 24, somewhere around that range.
That's what he's looking for. That's what he's looking for.
Now Orlando's saying, hey, what y'all going to do? Y'all traded from me from the Baltimore Ravens. Y'all need an offensive tackle. I seen the other offensive tackles y'all have on this roster. Y'all need me. So what are we going to do? 25 or what? I'm not showing up. And so I'm a big player leverage guy. This is when the players get all the leverage, when a team trades for them and they let them, wait a year or play a year without paying them. And now it's time to come up, and the price is going to be maximum. I'm not taking anything less.
And let me add a caveat to all of this. Here's where the problem could get compounded.
Yep.
So all of a sudden now you've got a bitterness in this deal. He's holding out for training camp. Oh my God, it rolls into the preseason. Oh my God, it rolls into the regular season. Now you sign him late. Now he's out of shape. Now you need him to play. What ends up happening? They break down. They suffer injuries because you didn't give him proper training camp. You didn't get the big fella ready. Now you hurried up the process because you know your offensive line is dog shit without him. Right. And you need him to protect your $50 million quarterback. And now you rush the process. You put him in there. He's physically not ready to go. It's not that he can't play. He's just not physically ready. And then he's trying to play at a high level, and he ends up getting injured. And then you set yourself back this season. So to me, it all comes down to trade day. On trade day, you should have agreed to a contract, and then it was over. And then that way you know what money you're working with in the offseason, but you've got your tackle, straightened out. I wonder if they traded for him and they still had their own question marks.
Yeah. That's a good point. Because remember, he has some weight, like with a lot of offensive linemen, weight questions. Yeah. He's a right tackle, like you said. Is he fast enough? He's quick enough. You want to see, but if you're trading that amount of capital that they traded, you got to know. You got to know and be able to pay the dude. So they did it to themselves, and now they're going to have to figure it out. I think they do get something done eventually, but maybe he sits out for a little bit before they get something done. And he technically hasn't signed his tag yet. So the NFL changed.
No. I think he signed his tag. That's why he can't hold out.
No,
right?
he
hasn't signed. That's why he can't hold out. Exactly.
He hasn't signed a tag. So because of that, he can't technically be fined. And so the rule is if you're under contract, you can't hold out or they'll fine you every day. So he hasn't signed a contract. So they technically can keep not showing up and not get fined and show up, like you said, week 1, week 2, week 3, whenever, and say, hey, I'm here. You're going to take another 3 weeks to get in shape. And, by the middle of the season is when you're going to be ready. So, the Chiefs did this themselves.
All right, you got it. By the way, Rosendo's asking me, can you talk about Tyreek and Waddle? My question is, how important Sony Michel, Alex Ingold, and Cedric Wilson's role as playmakers this year makes us more dangerous as a team?
Okay. I think
there's a lot of shit.
There is a lot there.
You mixed up Sony Michel, Alex Ingold, and Cedric Wilson. So one's a slot player, one's the fullback, one's the running back, all of that. So you're leaving out Chase. Chase could take away time from Sony Michel, and Mostert would take away time from Michelle because they're all going to be used. It'll be a combination of backs. It's not going to. Sony Michel is so injury prone, Rosendo.
Yep.
You cannot make him a bell cow like you're making him there.
Right.
It's not one running back. It's 4 running backs. It's 3 running backs and a fullback that will be carrying the ball for the Dolphins.
And what I was going to there, which is kind of what you piggyback there, is one thing I'm really interested to see is how they figure out this running game and the balance between these guys. I'm going to get a lot of fantasy football folks leading up, like who should I draft? Who's going to be the lead back?
Don't touch it.
And I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch the Dolphins backfield, but we're going to learn a lot in training camp.
Yeah.
I don't know if Raheem Mostert's going to be ready for the start of camp. It may be sometime closer to August. Starts closer to the start of the season, but you're going to see Chase out there with Sony Michel. I think each of them are going to have roles, and you're going to see a lot of hot hand football. So what Sony Michel adds is he adds a power guy who can run inside the tackles.
Exactly.
Which you always need in a San Francisco-based wide zone scheme. A lot of it's going to be running outside. A lot of it's going to be offensive line pulling. And so you're going to be able to have a Chase Edmonds who does that, or Raheem Mostert. But then sometimes you're going to have guys so spread out that all of a sudden you just need somebody to run up a gap and get it done. And so I think all of these guys will succeed because of the diversity of their skill set. So I think that's how Sony Michel will help, particularly inside the tackles, and short yardage situation in the goal line, and when the defense is spread out. For a guy like Alec Ingle, you're going to have a fullback-based offense. So you're going to run the ball. I think that this is going to be a team where if you can really threaten people with their speed with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, then you're going to have lighter boxes, and you're going to have a situation where you can just lean on people, run the ball behind Teron Armstead on the left side. If you want to run outside zone, get Robert Hunt on the other side and pull him and run him on the other way. So I think there's a couple different options here if they can consistently run the ball, and if they can get teammates to respect the speed for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, then this can be a really cool two-dimensional offense. So that's the Alec Ingle impact. And then Cedric Wilson, somebody's going to have to be open. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. There's going to be a double team on one of those two, probably Tyreek. Jalen Waddle's going to get some shaded attention. And then Mike Gesicki's there too. So Mike Gesicki's going to get a lot of love. There's going to be a lot of times where Cedric Wilson's going to be one-on-one against a 4th or 5th best defensive back on the field. And so that's an opportunity for him to feast. He should be better than those guys. So Cedric Wilson's going to have a lot of opportunities as that third receiver, a guy who can play outside, can play in the slot if you need him to, and give you some key third down catches. You got 2 smaller guys on the field with Tyreek and Jalen. He's a bigger guy on size. So that's kind of how I view maybe those 3 pieces making that offense more dangerous.
Yeah, and by the way, also helpful for Tua because Cedric will be a big slot receiver.
Yes, exactly.
Which is actually not normal in the NFL.
Right.
So it's actually another advantage considering you have smaller outside receivers.
Exactly.
Have a big receiver, not only in Gesicki, but also in Cedric Wilson as a slot. That's a huge move for them.
It's really big, and it's interesting when you see how the Dolphins have shifted because last year they had Devontae Parker and they had Gesicki and even Preston Williams some as like 3 of their top 5 receivers. And so now they've gone a lot smaller, but you still need size in certain situations. And so I think, like you mentioned, Cedric Wilson's going to be a big third down red zone guy out of the big slot. Mike Gesicki as well. So you got the 2 big guys that can run out of the slot inside and the 2 small guys who can run deep and short on the outside. And you can move all of them around. Gesicki can play outside. Cedric Wilson can play outside. Jalen can play inside. Tyreek can play inside. And so you get a lot of different fun matchups that you can do mixing all 4 of those guys around.
No doubt. Hey, stick one of those in the freezer, by the way. Anyway, just crazy stuff there. Just delivery.
I was like, what is going on over there?
Yeah, they delivered a little too much of something that I ordered.
Is it beer?
No. Definitely not. Definitely not. Not with gout, bro. Alcohol is out. That's for sure.
Gotcha.
Oh, man. Anyway, so what are you working on over at the NFL Network? So folks check you out.
This is the last week or 2 before we get back ramped up with things. So next week, our afternoon show comes back. So I'll probably be on that at some point next week, kind of gearing up for training camps. And we get our training camp schedule either this week or next week. So then I'll know where I'll be I know I'll be with the Dolphins that first Saturday of training camp, and probably a bunch otherwise. So I'm also working on a project on the 72 Dolphins that you guys will see sometime before the season starts. So I think you guys will really enjoy that. That'll be dope as well. So those are a couple things there that I'm working on. But I have a question for you, Big O, before we leave.
Let's do it.
And for your followers, because it's actually a Marlins-based question. So I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I am a Phillies fan.
I know.
And I have a very bad track record when the Phillies play the Marlins in Miami when I go to games. I've been here 4 years. I've been to six Marlins Phillies games, and the Phillies have lost all 6.
So in other words, go to all the games.
They are 0-6 against the Marlins. And so I'm asking a Marlins fan base. So I know I'm going to get the wrong answer here. But I don't believe in jinxes. I also want to see my team play, and they are playing this weekend.
I'm telling you, I don't believe in jinxes either.
so I'm trying to decide if I should enjoy the game as a fan truly, or if I should sacrifice for the betterment of my team and skip out.
Oh, no. You should be a hardcore fan, and you should show up to the game and root on the Philadelphia Phillies for every single inning and show your pride and show your dedication.
So are you saying this because you want the Marlins to win?
I would never say anything like that. Okay, that's just not in me. I would never do anything like that. I'm telling you this with an absolutely straight face, okay?
I got to pick my day that gives the Phillies the best chance to win. So I'm not going with
and by the way, the day that Sandy Alcantara
I'm not going with Sandy's pitching.
Hey,
I'm not going with Sandy. I'm not going with Sandy's pitching.
Definitely, bro.
If Aaron Nola's pitching or Zach Wheeler's pitching on a day that Sandy's not pitching, that'll probably be a day I go.
How about this? Somebody's got to own a limo company that's watching our show. I bet you they will pick you up and take you to the game. We'll get a limo company.
Yeah.
You and the wife will take you over to the game. Yeah. You guys can enjoy the game, and watch the loss. Watch the game and then come back home. Nothing wrong with that.
And then the legend continues. 0-7, whatever it is.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8. So you can be LeBron, but this time, but actually, you're really coming up with those numbers. Yeah, because LeBron stopped at 2. Once he didn't need not 3 because he never got to 3.
I'm already at 6. I'm at Jordan level losses.
Exactly.
I'm backwards. Instead of 6-0 in the finals, I'm 0-6.
Think about this, dude. You can challenge the 60 Celtics. It's a beautiful thing, bro.
It's gotta be broken.
Awesome. It's awesome.
It's gotta be broken. I think Sandy's pitching on Friday, so
That's the game you gotta go. That's the game you gotta go
on Friday. But I'll probably need to go Saturday or Sunday.
Dress like the Philly Maniac also on top of all of that. There you go. Just sit there and just shoot the things out of your nose the entire time. And it's a beautiful thing. All right, my brother. I appreciate
the last one I went to, I brought my daughter and they beat us like 10-2 or something nasty. And
that sounds like a plan.
I'll keep you posted. Okay. All right.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe and our KSDT CPA Miami Dolphin and NFL report. Make sure you call the folks at KSDT, which, by the way, they now opened up an office. They've got one now in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. That is just absolutely amazing. Management advisory services, healthcare advisory, forensic accounting, business evaluation, wealth management. They do it all. Property management. Call them, KSDT CPAs.